nervous because I'm here now.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm Glenn Martin here with my co-host James Haskell. And in this episode, we're going to discuss the breaking news, the good news, that Mr. Lamar Jackson, among others, has been activated from the reserve COVID-19 list. So he is therefore eligible to play in this Tuesday's game against the Dallas Cowboys. So that's awesome news for a lot of Ravens fans. For most, the vast majority. Now, there is a small segment of fans that I see on social media that are expressing some disappointment in this news. Jimmy, surprisingly to me, some were looking forward to seeing Trace McSorley get his first real start and real action as a NFL player. To me, this is great news. What's your thoughts when you hear from that small group that want to see Trace get a shot?
Look, I got a lot of issues with that. Number one is that Trace McSorley. So I'm going to break it down in a couple ways. One, this is great news that Lamar Jackson is coming back. Fewer than a calendar year ago, he was the unanimous MVP, second in NFL history, youngest ever at 22 years old at that point?
Yep.
Or barely 23, whatever the math ended up being. Another point, McSorley went 1 for 6. 1 for 6. His only completion happened to be a touchdown. It looked great.
I think he went 2 for 6, Jimmy. Don't short the guy.
Really? 2 for 6?
2 for – oh, does this change your opinion?
Oh, big time. No, it doesn't at all. So I have a lot of issues with this. People are saying Lamar can't make the throws. People are saying that they can defend him because they can just crowd the middle of the field in the box and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Lamar Jackson, sick in bed from COVID, runs circles around Trace McSorley. I'm sorry. It's no knock on Trace. I think that he's going to be a formidable backup. I think, who knows, maybe in the future he'll have a chance to, I know that he did big things in college and he was a good player. Maybe he'll have a chance to make a name for himself in the future, but I seriously doubt it's going to be here barring a serious injury. Lamar Jackson is our quarterback now and in the future. I want to remind you guys that Trace McSorley, you might say he's better at throwing outside the numbers. You might say he's got a better ball, this, that, and the other. This is something important. There's a couple things about Lamar Jackson. One, he's 2 years younger than Trace McSorley. 2 years younger. So Trace McSorley is already more of a finished product, in my opinion, than what Lamar Jackson will be in the NFL. I think people really discount his age. I give it a lot of, I put a lot of stock in that because his physical, his tactical, his emotional, psychological maturity this is a different experiment. Once again, Lamar is growing up in front of our eyes. Number two, Lamar Jackson's work ethic, his athleticism, his humility, his coachability, all those things are what's going to keep Lamar from being bad in the future. This is not a Carson Wentz type scenario. It's just not. Right. Lamar Jackson is too good of a football player. So I think it's ridiculous. And in fact, I'm going to come out and give you guys a declaration right now. All right.
What do you got?
We're running the table. We're going 5-0 here on out. We're beating the Cowboys and all the other bums we got on the rest of our schedule. The only respectable team we got on our schedule is the Browns. And we're going to bring, we're going to show big.
Them Giants 5 in a row just knocked off the Seahawks.
You're right. You're all right. But they are still part of the NFC East.
Colt McCoy.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you say. But all I'm trying to say is that I believe that we're going to run the table. And the reason will be is because Lamar Jackson is going to be tuned in, is going to be on point, is going to be money for the rest of the season. I guarantee.
Wow. So that's your expectations. Your expectations
Absolutely.
are Lamar comes off of this missed game, a game he was not happy to miss, a game against, the Ravens' most heated rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was not happy that he was forced to miss this game. So hopefully you're right. I mean, I think the Trace McSorley stuff is just it's pretty silly. I mean, it's pretty silly. The guy was 2 for 6. He had
How can you compare him to Nick Foles? When didn't Nick Foles throw 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions?
Yeah, Nick Foles had a track record before he backed up.
He wasn't
Carson
2 for
Wentz.
6 in his career.
Exactly. He's had it. And also, I mean, Nick Foles, that's a totally different situation. Like what I'm hearing and what we're hearing every day now coming out of Philly is that Carson Wentz isn't that liked by his locker room, isn't that respected by his locker room, kind of a know-it-all type is what I'm hearing. Rex Ryan was going in on him today. Basically, the team doesn't really like the guy. The coaches, he's not a very coachable guy. That's all opposite of Lamar Jackson. Like,
Right.
He is one of the best leaders on our team. He is the most humble superstar I've ever seen, and works hard like crazy to get better. So yeah, I don't see. I think McSorley would be fortunate to have a backup career for his entire, like, I think he'd be fortunate to stick around for a few years after his rookie deal, and get a backup job. I think he'd be fortunate, but I don't think his role is ever going to be a starter in the league. But moving on from that, getting Lamar Jackson. Now, here's the other argument that I want to ask you about, Jimmy, because this argument I'll actually listen to. I'll actually take credence to, is the argument of, well, I'm not saying Trey should take over. You know, there's fans out there that say, I'm not saying Trey should take over. I don't think he should be the starter next week. But for this game, for this week, because Trace has been practicing, because Lamar hasn't been with the team, he's been sick. We don't know the after effects from coming back from COVID. They're different from each player. Maybe he didn't eat a lot. Maybe he's weak. I don't know. There's some people saying that just for this game, that Trace would be the better option because he's been practicing with the rest of the team. What are your thoughts on just this game?
Sure. Did you watch the Nate Robinson fight?
Yeah, it was brief, but yeah.
Yeah, it was brief. Right. So, what's the kid's name? Logan
Paul
Logan, is that his name?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. Sure. He's been training for a few years now, right?
Yeah.
He's got some time under his belt. Nate Robinson, 6 weeks of training? Nate Robinson,
and I doubt he did very intense training.
Right. Nate Robinson, I'm sure, I mean, is a much better athlete.
Not even close.
Yeah. But the thing to me is that Lamar Jackson has been our number one quarterback for the past year. So obviously, more than that by now, it has been our clear-cut, obvious number one quarterback has been in the role. Lamar, what I'm trying to say is that, once again, sick in a bed, Lamar Jackson is a better option, aside from the fact that he's supremely athletic, but also because he knows this offense in and out. He can do everything from muscle memory in his sleep based on the reps and the time with the offense, everything. I don't.
Well, let me just pose this then to you, because, and we talked about this guy in the past, a comparable type player is a Cam Newton. We saw that he started the year on fire, got knocked with the COVID, was forced to miss a game or two, did not look himself for the first week or even up to 3 weeks back since COVID. And then now he looks like, he's back to the original, the form we saw from Cam in the first 2 weeks. What do you think about maybe just like that comparison? Cam definitely took a step back for those weeks when he was struggling.
Oh, he did. But the only thing I'll say to that is, I think that a lot of people, if they're taking if they're taking their rooting interest out of it, would have more confidence in starting a guy like Brian Hoyer than they would a guy like Trace McSorley.
Okay.
And so if this was a Brian Hoyer,
even though we've seen what Brian Hoyer is,
but based on the fact that he's a vet, he has, a little bit more. Now, trust me, I'm not. Now, if there was actually Nick Foles back there for one game, I might be more serious about it. But look, Trace McSorley has an inkling of a resume playing live, with live bullets going. It's not. Yeah. I think, and our path to the playoff is narrowing every week. This game, while mathematically not a must win, I think psychologically is as close to a must win as it needs to be, as it possibly can be. So I don't think it's comparable. It's funny. And this is just the last analogy I'll make. People all the time, my older brother was a wrestler, and people all the time be like, "Oh, dude, I can wrestle you. Sure. No problem. Like, I know how to wrestle. I grew up wrestling. I watched WWE. Okay." And then, but it's all a technique thing. They last 15 seconds and they're like, get off me. And it's like, okay, if you don't have the reps, if you don't have the time, it's really hard to just pick it up and go, right? So Trace doesn't have those. Yeah, he's been practicing all week, but what does that compare to all the things that Lamar's been doing, plus all of his athleticism, plus the team absolutely loves Lamar. They're going to rally around him. I ain't worried about it. And Lamar's a lot younger than Cam.
That's true, no doubt. And if, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that Trace has been back now. But at one point, he was also on the COVID list.
And he had COVID too. He was just a week off COVID, and just apparently, according to a lot of people, balled out.
Yeah, well, yeah, 33% completion percent. Yeah.
Well, I'm
All
just
right.
saying, you know what I'm
No, a
saying.
lot of people did say that. No, you're right. All right. So also 3 other guys I want to mention activated from the COVID-19 list. Pat Ricard, Morgan Cox, long snapper. Although we didn't really notice Morgan missing in these last 2 games. I think he was forced to miss.
Right. Thankfully.
Yeah, we didn't really notice it, but I'm sure that Justin Tucker and Sam Cook are happy to see Morgan back. And then Justin Matabuke returns to the defensive line along with a lot of other guys, Jimmy. Also having Calais Campbell back for this game. Brandon Williams back for this game. And then Derek Wolfe looks like he's fine after he was a little dinged up. Was able to finish last week's game, but did have a little bit of an injury there. All those guys going to be back, man. That is encouraging to hear when you know Ezekiel Elliott, even though their line is banged up, it's still Zeke behind that line.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, is that I think that, our buddy Dave Sergio just put out a tweet saying that the Cowboys are going to stomp us because the NFL has been coddling the Ravens.
Wow.
And
okay.
So, I just reminded him to get his pipes.
Yeah, I was going to say, he better be
me. That's right, because he's, he's got to come on and sing us a whole Christmas song. But I just want to say this. The Cowboys are going to serve as an appetizer. They're nothing but mozzarella sticks to the main course. That is the Ravens-Browns game. But that's what's great about it. Calais Campbell, Brandon Williams, that front just gets to warm up with some wings, a little salad, get back in the rhythm. Right for the Browns to show up. So I can't wait. I think this is a get back game written all over it. I can't wait to see these guys out there.
And your concern level still, I just want to go over the few people that are still on the list and are likely to miss this game. Willie Snead still on the list, tight end Mark Andrews, outside linebacker Matt Judon, and then some guys that wouldn't have played anyway. Will Holden, Terrell Bonds, and Geno Stone also still on the list. But those 3 that I first read, Snead, Andrews, Judon, look like they're 3 all going to still miss this game. Any concern with those 3 still not going?
I'm concerned. Andrews, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Certainly. I mean, it's just an unreplaceable person as far as production goes. You don't grow Mark Andrews on trees. But for this game in particular, I'm not worried about the drop off of Snead because I already said Dez is getting 2 touchdowns. This is the Dallas Cowboys. He's going to be throwing it up. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So I think for this game in particular, I'm not worried about it. I hope they're back for the Browns game, though.
Yeah, I'm more – yeah, exactly. I'm more hopeful that they are not just back for the Browns game, but hopefully as close to 100% as they can be. I just want to see a full game where Matt Judon, Ngakoue, Calais, Brandon Williams, Derek Wolfe, you can throw in Matabike and all those guys, but mainly those main 5. I want to see a full game with our full complement on the front 7, and I hope it's against the Browns because boy, they looked good against the Titans. They got a couple of running backs that are darn good, and Baker looked awesome yesterday. I know you were not happy to see that. But yeah, they're going to need these guys down the stretch. But it's good news, guys. They got Lamar back. They got Project Pat. They got Morgan Cox, and they got Justin Matabuke. So I'm excited. Are you? We can't say. Dang it. I am overjoyed.
Yeah, elated.
Yeah, there you go.
All of them. I'm all of it. All the adjectives and and synonyms to excited. And I'll end it with this. The most important thing is obviously the most important one, Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. You can take all the other people off the list. While they're important and we need them, it's a team game. Yeah. Lamar Jackson is back. This will be a night and day difference. I think part of the reason and part of the reason why people thought Trace played so well is because, he looked like a much more polished quarterback and a much younger quarterback than a beat up, possibly punch drunk RG3 at that point. So it's all relative too, right? Like everybody looks slow when Lamar Jackson goes out there, but if it's your quarterback running around, he looks fast.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and I still have a lot to say about whether or not he actually did look great out there. He had a 33% completion percentage. And if the corner doesn't fall down, if Minka hangs on to that easy pick 6 that hit him dead in his chest, then we're not even having this conversation. So anyway, but yeah, it's nonsense.
Yeah. So you guys let us know your thoughts. As soon as the game comes up on Tuesday, we're really excited to reveal the winner and give a shout out to The person that gets the starting 5 of the offensive line right, names and positions that they're going to be lining up at, because it's shuffling around every week. Watch our last video, our preview video, to get Glenn and I's predictions, and put your predictions in the comments.
And also, if after you watch our preview, check out the preview we did with Dave Sturcio. It's every week we make sure we bring in a guy from the opposing team's media to give us an inside view of, from a Dallas perspective in this case. So yeah, check out both of them. We'll get you give you all the information you need to be prepared for this game.
That's right. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
See you.